Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Sports Talk with Austin, your daily dose of sports entertainment. In today's video, me and Jackson Johnson recap and give our breakdown and recap our thoughts on the NY6 and BowlMania season, as this is a special part 2 of 3 edition of this event.
Hmm. Well, Jackson, and you talk about Jekyll and Hyde's.
Ooh, yeah.
Georgia Tech, UCF. I mean,
Oh my!
Jackson, you've been saying it for weeks since we started this. UCF is the Jekyll and Hyde of the Big 12. I mean, they beat Oklahoma State 45-3, the team that
Yeah,
went to the Big 12 championship.
and they
And it's
pissed
like,
away a victory against Baylor.
like you said, Jackson, they're the Jekyll and Hyde. And then you've got Georgia Tech. One week they're playing North Carolina and they're looking really good and they win the game. And then there's other weeks they lose to Bowling Green. You can't be doing that. Now Bowling Green did make a bowl, but still Georgia Tech, you shouldn't be doing that. That's bad. Like
Yeah.
Jackson, I don't know about you, but when we did our pick 'em, I struggled picking this game. I think I picked UCF. I should. I don't know about you, but this was one of the harder bowl games to pick. Congratulations to Georgia Tech and Brent Key on a fantastic season, and hopefully there's more better days ahead for you, especially now that you all got your first bowl win under your belt in a long time. But Jackson, this was one of the harder games to predict for me. I don't know about you,
Oh,
but I'm sure you got
this game
your
was
thoughts and
easy
takes.
for me because all I had to do was look at who is the favorite in that game, and I was going with the underdog automatically. Because Central Florida's favorite. I'm going Georgia Tech. I'm loving what Brent Key is doing over at Georgia Tech. Shout out to Candace Cooper, the co-host of Locked On ACC, who came on the Jacksonian over in the summer of 2023 when she said Georgia Tech would be the surprise team of the ACC.
Yeah, props to her for definitely calling that out. Now, Jackson, would you say they were the surprise team? A lot of people are giving that to us. Some people are giving it to Georgia Tech. Some have said we're surprised. Some said, Florida State was kind of surprising.
I think it was more expected that Louisville had a pretty good year.
Now, Jackson, I'm not trying to take away from their moment, but Jackson, you remember there's a lot of people predicting us to go 6-6. I've seen some predictions, they had us missing a bowl altogether. That's why, I know USA Today, they voted us as their surprising team, which shout out to USA Today for that. Congrats. But, I respect Candace Cooper. Oh, go ahead.
For once, USA Today is getting something right. Louisville being a surprise team.
But hey, that's not a bad pick by Miss Candace Cooper. I totally understand it because Georgia Tech has been bad for the longest time, and Brent Key finally has gotten them back to where they need to be. But yeah, Jackson, that was just some of the talk when it comes to surprising teams. Not everybody thought we were that we were surprised, but a lot of people thought we could miss a bowl, we could make one. Nobody had us winning more than 8 games, I think. When I looked at the projections at the beginning of the year, which was fair. First year head coach, new quarterback, new offense, got to learn it all. But speaking of nobody projecting, Duke with a 17-10 win over the Troy Trojans. And Jackson, I warned you about this game. You were adamant, good buddy, about Troy winning, and I went Duke. And that bad man Jordan Waters, I told you he was gonna get them. He was gonna get this team to victory. Jackson, is this one that you would love to have back if you had a chance to redo this pick?
Yes, I would love to redo some of these. Oh my god. Can I go back in time? Oh man.
Like, be honest with you, Jackson. We'll get to Northwestern in a minute, but which was more surprising to you? This win for Duke or Northwestern's win? Because Duke had lost their coach and their quarterback.
Duke
In your
winning.
opinion,
Duke
which one was
winning.
more? And the reason why I asked that, Jackson, for one reason is because Northwestern is a great story, but Northwestern had everybody playing, the coach and everything was there. Duke was basically left for dead, and they were basically like, Duke. Mike Elko and Riley Leonard said, you're a dumb heap. We're leaving you. And then what happens? Jordan Waters was like, y'all may have left Duke, but I'm going to get us this victory. And what happened? He got that W. What is your take on this game, Jackson?
Well, and there was another thing that hurt Troy. John Shire left for Tulane, during this, before this game. Troy didn't have their head coach either. So that bit Troy in the rear. And, I picked Troy, counting on the fact that John Shire was going to be coaching, but I should have known better. Somebody was going to get him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Congratulations to Duke, though. I'm glad I wrote it out with the Blue Devils, Jackson. Great win. Now, this next bowl game, Arkansas State, Northern Illinois, we'll briefly touch on. Congratulations to Northern Illinois on a great season, especially after they upset Boston College, which we'll get to Boston College in a minute because they really, Jackson, they really screwed the
Oh
pooch with
yeah.
us. But
I will say
go ahead, though,
Northern
Jackson.
Illinois has been the Jekyll and Hyde of the MAC, because it was like week 1 they upset Boston College. Then next week they only score 11 points against Southern Illinois and lose against them. That was a bad look right there. It was like that Boston College game went over to their heads. But then when they realized they were 1-4 going into Akron, they were thinking to themselves, "Ooh, we could miss bowl eligibility." They beat them, but then they're 4-6 going in Western Michigan. They shut them out. Then they beat Kent State, and then they win this game in the Camilla Bowl.
Good win for them, and win for them. Hopefully, nothing but awesomeness for them coming forward. Congratulations, Northern Illinois. And what about
For sure. And I'm wondering if Thomas Hammock, unfortunately, will be on the hot seat going into 2024. But as for Butch Jones in the Champions of Life Arkansas State Red Wolves, I wish him a lot of luck, especially in a competitive Sun Belt. They're gonna need it. But as for Air Force and the Armed Forces Bowl, they had a tremendous game against James Madison.
Now, Jackson, this is another one that was impacted by a coaching change as well, because I know you've got some thoughts on this, but James Madison lost their coach, Coach Kurt Sinetti. He went to Indiana, and it may have played a big factor in why they lost this game. Jackson, I believe you picked James Madison. I went with Air Force. Air Force started off really well. Yeah, and Air Force started off really well, but then they had that terrible, downfall. And I could see, Jackson, why maybe you didn't believe in them as much. But as you can tell, Air Force, took advantage of James Madison losing Kurt Sinetti. And, hopefully James Madison doesn't go too far downhill, but congrats to Air Force. And Jackson, we were talking about Air Force possibly being where Liberty got to. We're talking about them playing in a major bowl, New Year's Six game, but they fell apart late and it cost them a lot. But I know you got some takes on this game, good buddy. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty surprised about Air Force getting it done, but I probably shouldn't have been, because of the fact that Kurt Cincinnati left James Madison, and I was way too hard on Air Force because they had that losing streak to end the regular season. So that was a bad look right there.
Yeah, 100% agree. Congratulations, Air Force. Not much else to say on this game. I think great win for Air Force. Hopefully they can build on it. And for James Madison, hopefully that this doesn't affect them going forward. Hopefully they can remain bowl eligible with their new head coach. But on to our next game, good buddy.
Well, we'll say what helped Air Force was the 351 rushing yards that they had in this game. So I mean that was pretty much one of the things that pretty much helped Air Force win this game right here. Yep. But we go to the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. And my takeaway is I wonder what it's like to have a French fry bath. But in in the little Gatorade thing. What do you think, Austin? You're muted. I mean, holy cow.
Oh, I was just gonna. I was sorry about that. Didn't know I hit the mute button. But Georgia State. I know for a lot of people they surprised a lot of people, especially with the way they ended the season. I figured Clay Helton would get it together, and he did. Congratulations to them. This was another one of those I didn't watch because I don't pay attention to these much, which might be part of the reason why.
Well,
I will be honest with you guys.
Sean Elliott's their coach, actually. Clay Helton is at Georgia Southern.
Oh, wrong coach. Okay. Thank you. Well, good win for them. Mixed my coaches up. Sorry about that, folks. But as we move on here, we'll give a quick mention to this. Congratulations, South Alabama. Jackson, we know what time it is. They spanked them like they did something at school. They got a bad grade and they spanked them.
Yeah, they did. I mean, that was ugly right there. I mean, what was happening to Eastern Michigan was ugly. That's not a game you let your kids watch. That's just a no-no.
And Jackson, talk about the best story in all of college sports. Northwestern beating the Utah Utes in Jackson. We owe Northwestern a public apology. I am sorry, Northwestern, that I picked you all to win 2 games this year. I am so sorry. I was not familiar with your culture over there. I thought after the disastrous offseason, this was going to be rough on you guys. And David Braun, rightfully so, backed that bridge truck up to his house and pay him his money. Make him the head coach. Take that interim tag. Well, Jackson, at the time, he was still the interim head coach, but I'm glad for his sake that he's the head coach now. Northwestern, congratulations on a fantastic win in the Las Vegas Bowl, 14-7 over the Utah Utes. Jackson, I'm sure Northwestern fans are looking forward to your apology as well, good buddy, and your thoughts on this game.
Well, I didn't even think they could beat UTEP in the preseason. So my bad on that, Northwestern. And, we're not the only ones who messed up on you guys. A lot of other people did. Everybody doubted you guys. So, I mean, I hope you have another awesome season next year. But I will say it's going to get tougher in the Big Ten, especially with USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington joining. I still cannot believe. I still can't believe we called Northwestern Maryland a conference game, let alone Northwestern Washington.
Mm-hmm. And Jackson, one of the more confusing games, Coastal Carolina San Jose State. Grayson McCall did not play in this game, and Coastal Carolina won by 10. Like, I remember picking last year in our conference championship picking Coastal Carolina, but Grayson McCall was injured and they ended up losing. And I promised myself I wasn't going to pick them again if Grayson McCall wasn't healthy and playing. And I picked San Jose State because of that. Because Coastal Carolina has shown without Grayson McCall or when he's injured, they do not play as well. And it bit me in the rear again. And Jackson, I know you were in the Voice of College Football Pick'em League as well, where you can win some fantastic prizes. And I know you had put some points on this game right here, and it bit you in the butt as well. What was your thoughts on that? And I'm sure you were pretty mad that they cost you some points.
Oh, I was not too happy, but I was impressed with that kid named Ethan Vasco at Coastal Carolina. He had 199 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and 50 rushing yards in that game. So, I mean, this young man was tremendous. I should have paid him some more respect, but I'm still waiting see mode on Tim Beck at Coastal Carolina. I don't think he can get the job done at Coastal Carolina. Well, he's not going to get him 10-win seasons like Jamie Chadwell did. That's for sure. And I mean, we saw the production of Grace McCall go down this season. That's why I was like, I'm not liking where this team is going.
Mm-hmm. And real quick, Jackson, before we move on to the next bowl, what really hurt too is that San Jose State missed that field goal too. That would have made it only a touchdown game, and they missed it. That really is what turned the tide right there. But Jackson, talk about a team sneaking into bowl eligibility. Minnesota with their APR sneaking in, and they beat Bowling Green 30-24. And Jackson, I did not have much faith in this Minnesota offense, and they put up 30 points. And it kind of was one of those things. This would be one I would love to do over if I had an opportunity, because I did not expect Minnesota to put up 30 points. But go ahead, good buddy, on your take with this game.
Well, I mean, I figured Minnesota would pull it off against Bowling Green. Especially they wanted to show everyone, hey, we belong in the bowls. We're gonna beat them, and they did. Although they let that Iowa game go to their head, and it was unfortunate that the Wisconsin winning streak ended. But what they say, it is what it is. And hopefully Minnesota can have a better year next year. But congrats on a fine victory over Bowling Green.
Yes, congratulations, Minnesota. Even though I didn't pick you in this game, but your offense produced, even though I doubted them big time. Congrats, though. Quick mention on this one, Texas State beating Rice 45-21. Congratulations, Texas State. Didn't happen to catch this game. Jackson, you got any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I would hate to be on the bad side of the Bobcats. I mean, it's just not good to be making them mad at you. And as for Mike Bloomgreen, I'm kind of wondering about him because, 2022, they got in a bowl because of the APR. And then this season, they lost the bowl game, got creamed by Texas State. So, I mean, we don't know what's happening with Mike Bloomgreen, but I guess we'll wait and see. But this one game that really got me excited was the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. And wouldn't you know it, Austin? This is going to be a regular season rematch next year. Kansas UNLV. Oh, man.
Yeah, Jackson. I will say, to mention this real fast, I know you want to pay your respects to Kansas. I gotta say this. Not if Jaden Daniels was healthy, I feel like they would be in a better bowl. Would you agree with me on that one, Jackson? Do you feel like if Jalen Daniels, not Jaden, Jalen Daniels was little bit more healthier, that they could have been 9-3, 10-2, maybe playing in one of the better bowls?
Oh hell, we would have gotten a Kansas Missouri near sits bowl. That's what we would have gotten.
Really? You heard it here
I
first,
mean,
folks.
yeah. Because I mean, you look back on some of the past appearances I made on Voice College Football, and one was where Mark was doing the AP preseason poll reaction. I called in. I was like, the pollsters are disrespecting Kansas, and they're basically showing us they don't even watch all that much of Kansas football if they're not even at least giving them a mention.
Well, and Jackson, you got to think too. I think part of it with Kansas is part of it is they're perceived as that basketball school, and Lance Leopold's finally starting to get them just a little bit more respect. But they
True.
still look at them as, oh, you're the basketball school. We don't care that you went to a bowl first time in a long time. That was a fluke. And
Well,
us as college football fans, Jackson, football fans, we recognize that Kansas is starting to become a football and basketball school. Did you know, Jackson, that they gave Lance Leopold, they gave him the organization, or the university, I should say, gave him money to help with the football program. They're making an effort to make sure that both of their collegiate teams do really well. And Jackson, there's one man, good buddy. Sorry to cut you off, but there's one man he can thank for that, and that's Mr. Jason Bean. Go ahead. I know that's where you were going. Take it away, good buddy. Brag.
Yeah, Jason Bean had a tremendous game where he had 19 of 28 completed passes, 449 passing yards, and 6 touchdowns. But there was one stat that was hurting them, though. They had 18 penalties in that game. And how that had not hurt them was that it was just a lot of luck, man. And as for UNLV, they had a tremendous season as well with Barry Odom in his first year. And I guarantee if Barry Odom can have another year like he has this year in 2024, he can parlay that into a Power 5 head coaching job.
Yeah, Jackson, real fast before we move on, those 3 picks by Jason Bean, that's very concerning. Like, I'm happy Kansas got the win, but they better be careful with that going forward, because most of the time when you throw 3 interceptions, you're going to get beat by the better teams. This is a great win, don't get me wrong, but if Kansas was playing someone of a better caliber, if they were playing like an Oklahoma State, not an Oklahoma State, like a Arizona or a maybe USC, and they turned the ball over 3 times, they might have not won this game. But
yeah,
I'm not trying to take away from their win. Great win. And unfortunately, we have to talk about this game now.
Oh,
Jackson, please, Jackson, spare me the pain. You start us off, please.
Man, I mean, I thought Louisville was going to get this win. I mean, no opt-outs at Louisville, but Miller Moss showed us all a thing or two, especially when he was throwing a Holiday Bowl record 6 touchdown passes. Holy cow. I mean, it was great. 23 of 33 completed passes, 372 passing yards. And, oh, man. What was going on with Louisville, Austin?
Well, Jackson, our running game was working good. Congratulations to USC. First off, congratulations to y'all. Y'all earned it. Y'all deserve it. Great win. Proud of y'all. I will be the first to admit, as much as this hurts me, I'm not going to be a sore loser about it. It's not how to be. Well, I was raised better than that. Congratulations, USC. But Jackson, our running game, Isaac Garindo had himself a night. But Jackson, that defense we put out there on that field, that was not the defense that we played all year. I don't know if our players just got too relaxed because we had so much time off, but it definitely hurt us. Because Jackson, you go watch a lot of our games, you'll see that that's not the defense that we play. Like, if you look at how we beat Notre Dame, we were more physical with them. We were tougher than them. We outplayed them. Tonight, that night, USC outplayed us in every phase, even on defense. I mean, it was just, I want to forget this bowl game if I can help it. But, Jackson, one thing we will never forget is Oklahoma State winning the last edition of the Bedlam and parlaying that into the Big 12 championship and parlaying it into a 31-23 victory over Texas A&M, led by Mr. Ollie Gordon, the leading rusher in all of college football. And, we're going to pay our respects right now because we watched the broadcast of this game, and all they were talking about was Texas A&M this, Texas A&M that. And that's not fair to Oklahoma State. They had a tremendous season that they got overshadowed because A&M fired Jimbo Fisher, and that was the talk of the town. But Jackson, you know how to hype up this team better than anybody. Go for it, good buddy. Take it away.
I mean, how could anybody not watch Ollie Gordon? And I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be fun watching them next season in 2024. See if they can repeat. They can possibly win the Big 12 in 2024. I mean, they're likely going to be favored, but they are going to have some competition. They are going to deal with Arizona and Utah and Kansas State and Kansas next year. So that's going to be pretty ugly.
Yes, it is, Jackson. I will say, though, Alan Bowman, he's got to cut them turnovers out, Jackson. He threw 2 picks again. Have you seen this man's numbers for this year? He got to cut that out because that's going to end up costing Oklahoma State, especially when they play the better defenses that are coming in, especially when they play Morgan Scalley and that Utah defense. That's going to come back to bite him in the butt. He better be careful and not be doing that next year. He might have been able to get away with it this year because the Big 12 wasn't as heavy on defense besides Texas and Oklahoma and maybe Kansas State. He better be careful. That's all I got to say because if he keeps doing this, it could be a wrap. But as for Texas A&M, I'm sure they're jumping for joy because Mr. Nick Saban will no longer be a pain in the butt. But I'm sure somewhere Jimbo Fisher is partying with partying on his porch deck over $75 million in a buyout.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Texas A&M, you shouldn't have put yourself in that situation. But go ahead, Jackson.
Oh yeah. I mean, you just don't do that. I mean, you don't put yourself in that kind of position. But we know, the next few years we're going to be hearing about, Texas A&M is going to be a great SEC contender. Can they show us what they could do in other games first? Can they show us what they could do in the regular season? Obviously not.
But congratulations to Oklahoma State. Though, on a great win, though. All respects to them, and we're looking forward to seeing Ollie Gordon next year as well because he will be a junior dog, as my good partner calls him. On to our next game. Virginia Tech with a 41-20 win over Jackson's Tulane Green Wave. Jackson, this must have been a hard day for you, especially seeing your Tulane team go down. But we do have to admit, Michael Pratt was not there, so that kind of hindered it just a little bit. But go ahead, Jackson. What went wrong with your Tulane team?
Well, and I think also Willie Fritz leaving for Houston really hurt them as well. So I should have known this was going to happen, and I should have known that this was a different Virginia Tech team, especially different from the one that started out 1-3 in non-conference play.
But congratulations though to Virginia Tech. You know their defense, Brent Pry, definitely got them going in the right direction. Looking forward to seeing what they do in the future. As for Tulane, without Michael Pratt and without Willie Fritz, will they still be a contender in the American? And will they still be a contender for possibly the non-Power 5 spot in the 12-team playoff? We shall see. But another team that made an impressive impact in the Duke's Mayo Bowl, 30-10, West Virginia over North Carolina. Now, we must say Drake May did opt out, so that did hinder this game down just a little bit. But Jackson, do you have anything you want to add to this great West Virginia victory?
Well, and I will say about Neil Brown, a lot of people were expecting West Virginia to fall apart in the regular season, go last place, and then Neil Brown would get fired. But he surprised everybody, especially with the run they had. And I don't know if the hot seat talks will continue going into 2024, but he cooled off his seat big time, especially with a victory over North Carolina. As for Matt Brown, no, he's returning next year, but is he going to be in a forced retirement? That's a good question. Yeah, after like 2024, during 2024, it all depends on how North Carolina does.
And for more great content here at Sports Talk with Austin, please make sure you like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell so you never miss another video on anything college football, college basketball, and the NBA. Hey, here at Sports Talk with Austin, it's Cardinals for life, baby. I'm out. Stay in.